Alright, greetings South High Packers. Welcome back to another video with Mrs. Kuhlman and Will. We are on our next section, 6-5b, equations with rational exponents. And I want to give you guys a couple of little notes to take down before we dive into our example equations. The first thing that I'd like you to write down, we're going to talk about order. So let's go ahead and write down in our notebooks, canceling order. Whenever we have equations with parentheses and rational exponents, we have to follow a certain order. So when you have parentheses, if you have an equation that contains parentheses, you always want to do the reciprocal after the outside numbers before the inside numbers. So I'm going to give you guys a second to write that down. You can pause if you'd like and write that down in your notes. Remember, you're going to do outside numbers first, then you're going to do the reciprocal of your fraction, and then you're going to cancel your inside numbers. Now that's when you have parentheses. But what if you don't have parentheses? If you don't have parentheses, you are going to do the reciprocal last. And that's pretty easy. I think this second type is easier than the first type. Okay, let's go ahead and do a couple quick examples. In your notes, let's write down solving the equation. And here's our first equation. Quite a big number there. You can get out your calculators if you'd like. Okay, let's solve this. I've got 10 on the outside. I've got 5 on the outside. 22's on the inside. We're going to do that last. 5/3, there's my rational exponent. Let's go ahead and get rid of that 10 before the 5 because 10 is farther away from m. So positive 10, opposite of positive 10. Let's subtract 10 on both sides. 15,635 minus 10, 15,625. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Now we got to get rid of that 5. It's outside the parenthesis. 5 times the parenthesis. Opposite of times is divide. Let's divide by 5. Throw this in your calculator. 15,625 divided by 5 gives me 3,125. Now we've got that rational exponent, that little fraction. It's outside the parentheses. We need to get rid of it. So let's go ahead and do the reciprocal. Reciprocal of both sides. 5/3, so I'm going to put 3/5. Bottom number is 5. That's my index. So I'm going to rewrite it like this. Bottom number 5 becomes the index. Top number 3 becomes the exponent. 5th root of 3,125. So what number times itself 5 times is going to give me 3,125. Look on your chart that I sent you, and it's 5. The 5th root of 3,125 is 5. Bring down that little exponent 3. 5 cubed, 125. Finish it off by subtracting 22 on both sides. 125 minus 22 is 103. Look at that beautiful solution. All right, let's do one more example, and then we will be done for this section. All right, guys, here's our last example. We've got a lot going on here. I believe this one's on your worksheet, by the way. Let's go ahead and get rid of that 3. It's outside the parentheses. Go ahead and pause this if you need to write it down. Get it down in your notes. Okay, let's get rid of that 3. Let's subtract 3 on both sides. 3's cancel. -5 and -3 gives me a -8. What else is outside that parentheses? Well, we got that -4. -4 times the parentheses, times the quantity, 36 minus p. Opposite of times is divide. Let's divide by -4. -8 divided by -4, that gives me 2. Okay, now what else is outside the parentheses? That rational exponent is. How do we get rid of that rational exponent? Do the reciprocal. Reciprocal of 1/6 is just 6. 6/1, just 6. But 6 over 1 on both sides. 6 over 1 is really 6, so I really don't need that 1 on the bottom. 2 to the 6. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is going to give me 64. Now we just solve it like a normal equation. Subtract 36. 64 minus 36 is 28. Look, there's a 1 there. Negative 1p. Divide by negative 1. And 28 divided by negative 1 is negative 28. Negative 28 is our answer. A big thank you to Will for helping me out. South High Packers, thanks for hanging out with us today.